Hello everybody, it's only me again. After I did the recording of the streets of London, I was unwell for quite a while. I'd been in bed for maybe about 5 or 6 days, really sort of not very well at all. And then I spoke a little bit sort of about my my grandfather at the end of it. Now if you watch this recording as it's taking place, you'll see all these things kind of like flying around. Sort of on the 8th of January last year, it's almost a year ago, I was sitting up here. But for the people that don't know me, there's maybe a handful of people that really do know me quite well. I rebuilt a house which is kind of like at the back you can see these walls and stuff like that. It's taken me about 15 years to get as far as I have, and there's still a little bit to do. But I'm hoping to get around to that at some point in time. Anyway, I was thinking about, sort of, I was lying in bed and I was thinking about the thing to do with my granddad. And all I can remember is like from a very early age, sort of sitting in the back room and the house that we had. Well, my dad was watching cricket on the TV. I was looking out the window up at the sky and I could see all these things flying about. They were having a fantastic time. They were free, they were held down by nothing. They just had the air to play with. And while I've been here, it's a camera that picks most of it up. And it's absolutely incredible, you've got these kind of like orbs that'll fly and follow the same pattern, can go round and round and turning and zipping and flitting about. It's just absolutely incredible watching these things on playback. And I did you see that one there? I put something down sort of shortly after observing this last year, and I asked for people's ideas as to what they sort of might be. I threw the question out there and I got no answers. So while I've been rebuilding this house, initially there were some very strange things happening here. The first night I kind of, after changing all the locks on the doors and stuff like that, this back was a back bedroom, and there was a wall there, and the door was on this side. So I had very basic stuff. I was on an airbed and I was in a sleeping bag, and my mother was alive at the time, and I'm lying down on this sleeping bag, maybe about 9:30, and I'm getting comfortable. And about 20 to 10, I heard the front door open and slam shut, bang, and then I heard footsteps coming across the living room, through the kitchen, and then up these stairs. But there was a wall here at this point in time. So as it came up the stairs, the temperature plummeted and the air was icy cold. I could feel all my breath coming out of my mouth like ice, So I'm up on my elbow, kind of like listening intently, and whatever it was stood at the top of the stairs, and it was very, very quiet, and my heart was going, there's somebody in the house, there's somebody in the house. And as I listened, it continued to walk down the corridor. Did you see that? It's not me making this up. It continued to sort of walk down the corridor to where the door was. And I'm like a caterpillar trying to get out of my sleeping bag, thinking there's somebody in the house. And I'm kind of like wriggling around like this, thinking, okay, what can I do? So I just went, come on then. And the bedroom door, bang, it opened up. and then everything went back down to normal. It just disappeared, went back to the way that it had been. Now, you explain to me what that might have been, because that was the freakiest experience at that point in time that I had ever had. And I phoned my mother up and I said, "You'll not believe what's just happened to me." Anyway, I thought about it. I went and lay down again, thinking, okay, that's it. You know, it's the excitement over one night. And I realised, because the door was there and you had to come down a corridor, there was no way out. It was just if there was been a fire or a death trap, it would have been a death trap. So I took the wall out, and that wall was, taking the wall away was probably the best thing I ever did, because I used this as a workbench. It's helped me on so many occasions with trying to redevelop this place. So on the second night, I set up a camcorder and I put it on a window ledge in there. I set it up for an hour, to run for an hour. The battery was sort of perfect. It had been charged, and I'd gone to I went to the other room, and I'm on this sleeping bag, and I'm on this airbed and my sleeping bag. And this is after I set the camcorder away. So I get comfortable, and sure enough, within about 20 seconds of lying down, the camcorder just shut down. I could hear it shut down. No explanation, no reason as to why. And at a later date, about a week later, I sat with my mother and we watched what was happening, sort of with this image that kept coming into the camera and just kept coming into the camera, and then everything shut down. The light came on. So I've recounted this quite a few times, you know, sort of the experiences, and I think it's possibly because of all the upheaval that I was causing here. You know, it hadn't really been touched in 200 years. So for somebody like me coming in and starting to do what I was doing, I don't think they were very happy about it. So the next thing is maybe about 3 weeks later. I'm underneath the floor in the front bedroom, you know, sort of spraying some stuff and making sure that everything was cleaned out. And I put the floor back down, and I got to the bedroom door. I got to the bedroom door, and as I turned around, there's a cat sitting on the window ledge. Beautiful, beautiful coloured cat, you know, sort of like a tabby cat. And the colours were pristine. It was beautiful. I'm not too keen on cats, but this cat looked beautiful anyway. So I'm looking at this cat and I'm thinking, where the hell's that come from? You know, so how's it got into the house? Where's it come from? And as I'm looking at it, it didn't register at the time, but it kind of tried to do like a half-shaped sort of run around me, and it realised it couldn't get past me in the doorway, and it went down on its front paws, and its hackles went up, but there was no sound. And as I'm thinking, where's this cat come from? I had heard a cat sort of in the past, after shortly having moved in, hitting the floor from jumping from something. But you know, the strange thing is, it turned left and it went through the wall. And I thought, what? So you tell me, you know, we're not alone. People and things, animals, they're still in existence even though we can't see them. Now, I was telling you about the night where I had the camcorder on. When the camcorder went off, I took a camera and I took a few shots within the room from where I was. And when I reset the camcorder and went back and looked at these photographs, I was looking at them intently, and there's a man, and he's standing looking at me from the corner of the room as to where I was lying on the floor. His face was half in light, half in darkness, and it's as clear as day. You can see him. He's probably about 5'6", And that really kind of freaks me out as well, because somebody's observing you and I can't actually see them. It's, you know, there's a lot of things that happen in life that we don't know about, that we don't understand, that are around us probably most of the time. And people dismiss them as flights of fancy, or sort of like the imagination running riot or whatever. But I'm not so sure. You know, there's in another one of the videos that I did with regards to George sending me a tape with regards to the Wait by the band. I went to the hospital the night that he died, and to be perfectly honest, I think he left the hospital with me, because things that, whenever my son's around, strange things start to happen. I mean, sort of things that you can't make up. You can't. There's no logic to it. He was still quite young, you know, sort of when George passed away, and I tried to explain to him the best way that I could, you know, that we have to accept letting people go, even though we love them. And he really thought a lot about him. He thought the world about George. And he was talking to me, and I said, okay, you know, if you I'm going to try and make an experiment. If you believe there's an afterlife, or if there is an afterlife, George, I want you to knock once as loud as you can. You might not believe this. I don't really care if you do. You know, but this happened. The bedroom door was hit with such force, it was closed, but all the coat hangers on the back of the door were rattling away like that. And George was there. He was there. And he followed, in between sort of death and, you know, the transition between life and death. The people that we love remain with us, whether you like it or not. They are there. Sort of, they could be in the background, or they're letting you know in subtle ways that, you know, they want to connect with you, to tell you whatever the message that they want to try and get across. It's really important, you know, not to dismiss the idea that we are not alone. You know, there are bigger things greater than ourselves. This is just a facade, you know. We walk around in this from the moment that we're born to the moment that we die, and we all have different experiences. But there are other things that happened to me sort of prior to George being cremated, that he let me know that he was there. And I'm just going to explain one more thing. You know, I was sitting with my son downstairs in my mother's, and we were watching the television, and my mother had gone to bed. And Jonah started talking about the incident that happened with George a couple of years beforehand, and I said to him, this only really sort of happens when my son's around, when the two of us together. He's seen things here. He's actually seen physical forms here when he's been here. So he wants to see a picture of one of my uncles, because he thinks that he's seen sort of one of the family, and it freaked him out quite a lot when he was here. So what was it going to? So I'm downstairs, we're watching the TV, and the light flickered. This is kind of, it's unreal. So the light flickered, and I jokingly said to my son, I said, "Oh, all right, that's all right, Jonah." I said, "You know, it's just your granddad letting you know that he's here." And I said, "I'll show you." And I said, Dad, if you're here, I said, will you let the lights dimmer once again? And they did. And I said, are you going to let them come back up? And they came back up. And this happened 2 or 3 times. And then I switched the emphasis onto the television. And I said, Dad, if you're here, I would like you to make the red circle light around the TV to flicker, to go in and out. And it did. It started to flicker and flicker and flicker, and then the light went down again. You're not going to believe this, and I am quite of sound mind, you know, so I'm not stupid. But I said for a joke, and it was really in jest at the time, I said, Dad, I said, to let Jonah see that there is more beyond this world than ours, let all the lights go out, and every light in the house, all the electric and the electric next door, all shut down. And the guy next door ran out of the house wondering what the hell had happened, because it was only our 2 houses where the power all went out. You explain that to me. That's not in my imagination. That's not in my son's imagination. And it certainly wasn't in the imagination of the guy next door who wasn't even participating in what we were talking about. There are quite a few things that I could discuss. I could go on and on and on and on, but I'm not going to. You have to make your own mind up with regards to sort of how you live your life and sort of how you perceive things and where we are in this world, and the difference between sort of right and wrong, and trying to be the best person that you can be with the cards, with what you have. Nothing prepares you for this existence. We all come into it with nothing. We all leave it with nothing. You know? Anyway, with this sort of light entertainment, I will leave you in peace. But please have a look at that video that I've downloaded about the orbs. That's only about 10 minutes of about 20-25 minutes, and it was just absolutely incredible. I could not believe what I was seeing. Take care, and maybe I might sing a song next time which will make you want to cry. Bye bye.